Good evening, everybody. It's the pollinator. And Wakanda forever. Listen, I have not made a video since April 9th. I think this might be the longest period of time that I've gone without making one. And I'm not even sure if I'm going to upload this particular one. I'll probably play it back, see what the heck I'm talking about, and decide to make it public or not public. So, I've been in a series of seminars since March of this year, and I could talk about all of the various things that I've gotten out of doing, running through the curriculum for living again, and all of the awesome, wonderful people that I've met along the way, friendships that I've developed, other things that have happened. But I'm gonna be authentic and real in this one, and because people love to, especially if you're on a public platform like this, to talk about things that are positive and uplifting and motivating and things of that nature in order to look good out there in the world. But I'm going to talk about something that is probably the last piece of the puzzle for me in my life, and has been since I was a teenager. And that is the fact that I have kept finding myself in relationships with the wrong women. And then I get, because of the nature of what I do in the world, all the various people who tell me things that are going on in their life, because of all of that, I almost get like an instant replay of things that I have gone through, things that they're going through that I have gone through before. And I haven't completely let go of my disappointment, anger, anxiety, and whatnot around the last relationship that I was in. So I can see that will probably impede me getting back out there. Actually, I am back out there, but I notice and feel myself not being as vulnerable, not being as willing to trust, not being as willing to rush things when it comes to being in relationships with women. And this could apply for any kind of relationship you're in. I mean, it could apply to relationships with men, it could apply to relationships with non-binary people. It's just, human beings are funny creatures. I can talk to 50 people in a month, and I'm going to hear a similar story from all of them, no matter what kind of relationship they're in, which can be either a learning experience for me, or it can be a reminder, kind of like a sore that has not completely healed, or it can actually be annoying because you'll see yourself in them. You'll see your situations in their situations, and when you try to help them, they're as stuck as a bug in the rug as I was. Loving the wrong person, loving someone who was just only out to use me, allowing that to happen because of my own, I suppose, insecurities or lack of belief in myself and trusting my instincts and things of that nature. I mean, there's a whole lot of lessons that I learned about me that have always been around the fringes of my life from as far as really getting it. I've gotten close. I mean, listen, everybody has instincts. Everybody has a voice that tells them, don't go there, don't go here, go there, go here, don't do this, don't do that, don't say this, don't say that. Everybody has that voice inside that, to me, is uh, the image of God that we have inside. God, not your ego, not your personality, not anything of that nature inside that is whispering to you that something is right or wrong in your world. And I really don't even want to live in the world of right or wrong as much as I do in what works and what doesn't work, what is effective, what is ineffective, what is how to look at myself in what happened and try not to see the other person and the bullshit that they were. Um, inevitably, see, I'm not even going to say that word right. I guess I'm not supposed to say that word right. I tend to have a Superman, not a Superman complex. Well, maybe it is, to save the day. And so I find broken women. I find women that are absolutely incapable of loving. They just want to be loved. And they're not loving me back. Or they wound me deeply and don't even see it. Or, it's a one-trick pony. It's a one-sided show. It's not something that is about building relationship. I don't know why. I don't know why some people find the love of their life early on in their life and they're still with that person. I don't know why there's a lot of other people that are running around single in the world that are just really super people, except that they have risen the bar and they'll no longer accept the stuff that happened to them before. They'll no longer accept that kind of person in their life again. Or other things are going on inside of themselves where they're not going to settle for less than what they deserve. And that part in my instincts is something that I've ignored since I was a teenager. So something like 50 years, more than 50 years, where I settled for one reason or the other. I thought I had to put up with a bunch of nonsense from somebody and continue to try to get something from them that they did not have inside. I mean, I found out that I have a huge capacity and ability to love and communicate. I have not found partners that were the same way. They might have had a capacity, but they didn't have an ability to love. For whatever things that went on in their past, they just could not get over that hump of putting out what they wanted to get back. I have always been an overachiever and put out more than I probably should have, given the length of time that I knew someone, given what I saw, that I kind of took my eye off the ball and made excuses and said, oh, it's okay. I can love them enough that they'll get over that hump. No. We are not on this planet to fix anybody. We are not on this planet to save the day. I don't care what kind of man or woman you are. People have to want to fix themselves. And some people are in such denial that they blew, they put a bomb in the relationship, blew it to smithereens, and then acted like the victim. I find people like that. I find women like that who, no matter what I do, no matter how hard I love them, no matter what I show them, physical things, emotional things, mental things, verbal things. No matter what I do, they don't see it. And people are getting more and more and more self-centered in this world. They are being more. Me and a new friend of mine were talking about this, that especially for some reason in this area I live in, and it's probably not the area I live in, it's probably all over the planet, that people have turned into one big hustle. And if they can't hustle you, they don't want to have anything to do with you. And this goes as far as business, it goes as far as intimacy, it goes as far as friendships, it goes as far as, it is all over society in probably multiple countries, where if their hustle doesn't work, they make you wrong instead of seeing that they're trying to hustle you. And you didn't like it anymore, so you said, you're not going to hustle me, so they kick you to the curb. Because they're in it for what they can get, right? They're not in it for what they can give. They're in it for what they can get. So I decided, I don't know how long ago, it was probably sometime last year, I think. Okay, so I don't know how long it's been, but I decided that, okay, I'm gonna do something and be something different than what I have been, and that is to be about myself. Now, it's uncomfortable when it comes to women, when it comes to intimacy, when it comes to love, when it comes to things like that. I'm gonna make goddamn sure I get my needs met before I show them my hand, which is huge. Okay, because the last time I did that, I showed the entire deck. And I think I saw, the entire time I was with her, I saw maybe 5 of her cards. She kept playing the same ones over and over that weren't suiting me. And then I was all upset, wondering why, I was upset. She just did, that's all she had in her deck. Okay, so, how can I be mad at that? Because I didn't see that's all that was there. I got shown a deck very early on, but that's not what was in that deck. That was just a representative. And I got hustled. I got hustled for a lot of things, a lot of money, a lot of my heart, a lot of things that I'm envious of all of the stuff that I keep seeing with other people, other relationships, other marriages. I even saw a talk show the other day where this therapist was talking about how to fight fair and the kinds of things. Sorry, there's somebody that's really heavy-footed up there. Was talking about how to make relationships work, and was actually playing back to these couples that were getting up there talking about the relationships, was playing back to things that were happening, a little clip of things that were the way they were with each other in the relationship. And then the therapist would comment back, and the host of the show did something so hilarious. I'm still laughing about it to this day, because these two people were talking about what was going on between them, and the video played back of an interaction that they had, and the host was making comments about it, and the therapist was making comments about it, and halfway through their explanations of what was going on with each other, the host asked them, "Are you married?" Because I guess the guy made some kind of comment and tipped them off, and he said, "Are you married?" And they both said, "No, not yet." And he had a pen in his hand, and he was like, what, wait a minute, you're not married? And they said, "No." And he said, "Well, do you have kids?" And they said, "No." And he took his pen and just threw it on the ground, said, "You know what? Y'all need to break up. Period." y'all, you two, look, there's no point in this. And the therapist was like going, whoa, what, wait, no, Steve, wait, no. I just named the host. I didn't mean to do that. But, so she wanted to help. And the host was like, I'm too through with y'all, and the therapist was like, well, no. And she was giving advice and telling them how to listen to each other, how to talk to each other, how one couple, they weren't on the same page at all. One was complaining about one thing and the other was complaining about a complete different thing. And neither one of them heard what the other person's issue was. The second couple was the one where the host threw his pen down and just said, y'all need to break up. Just break up. But the therapist went on to give them advice, and then he said, you know what, because they were talking back and forth, and he said, y'all just like to make up sex. And the woman was like, no. And the guy was like, mm-hmm. And so their whole relationship was based around fighting and then making up and having make-up sex. That is not the stuff that foundations and relationships are made of. Sex is not a foundation. Sex is sex. Sex is a human birthright, I suppose. It's just something that we do, but you can't base your whole relationship on the sex. But there are probably, I'm not even going to say probably, I'm just going to just put it out there that there's probably billions of people in relationships for the sex alone. It's the bomb, and everything else about their relationship does not work except that part, so they stay there and they just try to overlook the rest of the mess. That isn't going to get them where they're going to go, but it's, great sex, whatever. That is not building a relationship. That can be their day one and not get any better or worse. Maybe it might even get better, but the relationship won't get better with just that alone. They have to be able to communicate. Communication is the key. What people don't say is as important as what they do say. And I venture to, I'm going to say that, I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. I tend to do things, I'm very quick-tempered. I've been that way all of my life. And until I find my queen, these other ladies aren't going to get my best treatment. Until I find someone who is willing to be and do and what they want from me, they better be able to give to me, or it's not going to work. And I'm not going to treat them like, I'm not going to put them above my own needs. I may never do that again, to be honest. That's a recipe for disaster, to never get your needs met and be meeting their needs. Somebody's going to get real resentful, and it's going to be the person who's not getting their needs met, and the other person isn't listening at all to what they need. I used to call it what I want, need, and desire. I wasn't getting that, and I stuck around thinking I was going to get those three things, and I never did. And to this day, that person's still making me wrong for not accepting less than what I deserved. I deserved the sun, the moon, the stars. Forgiving that. I wasn't expecting it and being a stingy fuck. I wasn't. She was. So, I am not going to put myself in that situation again to be with somebody for years thinking that they're somebody else. If they're stingy, they're stingy. And people think stingy means, not giving them the shirt off your back or something like that. No, stingy can be emotionally, mentally, verbally, physically, sexually, financially. Um, it can be in all areas that you will withhold that from somebody, and then wonder why they fly the coop. Mm-mm. No, if I'm willing to give all of those things to someone, they better be able to give them back. Not even give them back, just give them. Period. Not talking about being a giving person while they're behaving like a stingy person. Um, and somehow, yeah, somehow, I don't know. I'm not sure how to develop this into something practical for myself, because I'm definitely looking for that. And if I see any traces of what I have seen before, I don't even open the door. I'm opening it a crack and looking, and it's like, if they come off weird to me, dysfunctional, any of that other stuff, I close the door. And I'm not talking about physically. I ain't got nobody over here, but mentally, emotionally. And I'm not opening that door wide and just being this person that just trusts everybody. That's dangerous. Um, but I've been like that. I've been like that. I've been like that since I was a teenager. And women notice that. They see that as a weakness that they can take advantage of, and they will. Human nature. They are just going to do that. If you open it real wide, show them your entire deck, show them everything you're about. You ain't seen shit from them, and you're just inviting danger into your life. Um, Danger to your emotions, your spirit, your mind. Uh, so I'm not going to do that anymore. And it's uncomfortable because I've spent most of my life doing the opposite, right? Um, Not looking out for me, not making sure I was taken care of, those kinds of things. Making sure, not anticipating and hoping that happens, but absolutely knowing without a shadow of a doubt that somebody is going to bend over backwards to show me those things and give me those things on a consistent, regular basis. Then I will show them. You know what? I've had that ability all of my life. You don't got to worry about my end. You need to worry about your end. Um, and what you bring to the table. And I'm not necessarily talking about financially either. I was married once. Oh, what time is it? Okay, and I did not. I'm the type of man that I'm a provider. Okay, I don't mind doing that, but I won't do that if I'm not being treated like the king that I am. I'm just not. That's just never going to last. They may get away with that for a little while, and then I'll see through it to the fullest extent and pull out, um, and pull away. And I'm looking for someone where I can feel safe enough not to do that. Um, yeah, not have to protect myself. There is somebody out there that is not going to hurt me, because you know what? Love doesn't hurt. Loving the wrong person hurts. Um, and if you can't see that, if people can't see that they're loving the wrong one, um, there's no chance that the right one will come along, and um, you're just going to let all kinds of things happen inside of that relationship, because that person is not accommodating you in some, obtuse way. And I'm looking at the great big things, not the little things, but the real big glaring, that's not going to happen for you type of things. Um, yeah. So yeah, I could have talked about, a whole bunch of stuff that has happened since April the 9th, when the last video I made, which are been a whole bunch of positive things. And I am going to make a video after this seminar, the last seminar of the series ends. There's a lot of other ones that I could do within that organization, within that business. And I may choose to do them, and I may choose not to do them. But I am at the end of this series in the curriculum. And it's not a school like you go to a university or a college or a tech school or anything like that. This is all about stretching yourself as a human being, getting outside of your box of comfort, becoming the kind of individual that you admire. Imagine that, admiring yourself. Now, I also bumped up against something else that I realized, and last night I got clear that every human on the planet has problems with it, which is taking acknowledgement. I have this way of not fully letting that in, like really letting it in, what kind of person I am to people out there in the world. I mean, I know on some level what I do is powerful, but on another level, I'm like, it was nothing when it was something to them. All of these people I deal with on a regular basis did more for me in shorter periods of times than the women in my life have done for me. I gotta switch that around, right? I can't let that happen again. Somebody who, through intimacy, I feel the same kind of acknowledgement and respect and trust, and somebody who's not intimidated by what I do. I'm about community, and if they can't handle that, they're going to try to get in the way. There's going to be jealousy, envy. What are you doing? Who are you doing it with? A whole bunch of stuff like that, because I deal with a lot of people, so I can't be with somebody who is threatened by the fact that I'm a man of the world. I did, was Martin Luther King Jr.'s wife like that? Was Malcolm X's wife like that? I mean, look at a lot of the people that had powerful women behind them. Those women did not get in their way. They empowered them. They helped build them up as much as they were doing things to build themselves up. People always pine for what they want, and then when they get it, they don't know how to treat it right. They don't know what to do with that person. When they find somebody that checks off on their bucket list, then they turn around and realize, they don't even realize you got a bucket list too, and you're being checked. You're being checked as well. That part I have cheated myself about. I had a bunch of stuff on that list, and that person didn't check half of them, not even close to half, and I let it slide. Then I felt like Boo the Fool, because I let that shit slide and thought I could build them up. Women don't operate that way. Because you can build them up and build them up and build them up, and they can still be spoiled little, whats, and still not get back to you. Yeah, there's something very strange going on in the dynamics between men and women that I haven't quite figured out what that is, and I've had a life of not being with the right person. And letting that happen and trying to force it to work and a bunch of crap that wasn't going to happen. When somebody you're with in the beginning and start seeing things that are going on, refuses to go to therapy with you, refuses to work on themselves and work on the relationship, that's what relationships are about, is building and working and growing in the relationship. And if one of them refuses to do anything and grow anywhere, or do anything for what's going on between the two of you, you're not on the same team. They're on their team and you're on yours, but there is no our team. Yeah, because the problem is the problem, and both people have to work on it and want to work on it by any means necessary to work on it. That's what I'm getting, how marriages work and continue to work through time. How people stay together is they're both committed to working through everything. They're not just saying they will, they literally do. They literally do it. They literally will go out and do anything to better their relationship, to build their relationship, to have a solid foundation of communication, and just all of those things. You know, I've been talking to people like that most of my life too. I don't know why it kept eluding me, but it did. And I can't cry over that spilt milk, but I can make sure that in the future, I look for somebody who sounds like what they're describing in their relationships. I could do that. And not settle for anything that isn't up to my standards. I don't care anymore that if people say they're too high or whatever. I do not care. I'm beyond that age of being impressionable and caring what people think like that about what I do with my life, or my woman or whatever. I'm beyond that. And so that's it for tonight. I mean, I could say a whole bunch of other things too right now, but it's getting pretty late. Well, I'm making one before midnight. Now that's amazing, that I'm making a video before midnight. But I just wanted to get in here and talk about some real life stuff that's going on with me. I guess if I wasn't moving so fast and had so much things going on right now, I'd probably feel lonely, but I don't. There's times when I do. Mother's Day this year was hard. I mean, I carry her in my spirit, but it's different than being able to call her up and talk to her and go hang out and go to dinner with her and send her flowers and stuff like that. I basically would do that with the women in my life, but since I don't have one in particular that I want to treat that way, I don't get to give like that. And for me, giving gives me life. I'm looking for a lady who giving gives her life. See, giving to me in whatever way I want her to, gives her life. Because I know when I do it, it gives me life. I know, and I don't mean giving me life as in, you know, making me breathe, but it's how I function in the world is by giving to people. And I don't need anybody who is not a giver and is lying about being a giver and they're a taker. There's a whole bunch of them running around the planet, don't you know? I'm sure some of you do know. That whoever you're hanging out with and whoever you're in relationship with is just taking, and giving shit to you. And you're accepting that. And that's where you are shooting yourself in the foot, is accepting that. So, with that, I hope everybody has a blessed rest of their weekend. It's Saturday night, and I'm getting ready to leave late in the night. I have a rendezvous, and I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their week and a great summer. Peace out.